Hey, it's Tech Thursday. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Cassie.
And we're talking about something that a lot of other people are talking about, which is this idea of data breaching, because in the last couple of weeks, Ashley Madison got hacked, and now the names of people and email addresses are in a database, and you can search it and see who's been up to things that they shouldn't be up to, or not. And yeah, it's just interesting. There was a whole etiquette column about the different etiquette issues that come up. I searched my coworker and they were in the database using our company email. Should I report them to my boss? Like just stuff like that. Stuff you wouldn't think of, Thought it was kind of interesting.
I mean, I don't care what email they're using. It's kind of like, I feel like they have other ethical issues going on.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
It doesn't matter whose email they're using at that point for a site like that. They're doing something they shouldn't be doing, period.
Absolutely.
Probably. But I was listening to this podcast that I like to listen to last night actually yesterday after I left work. And they were talking about the different, like the Jared from Subway thing.
Yeah.
And like the people who they were differentiating between like the hackers who will go in and or like try to get your bank account number and like those kind of hackers, and then the hackers that are just doing stuff like going into Ashley Madison type sites or like Jared's computer and like uncovering the stuff. They're like, I don't know, I kind of want to pay those people.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly at the Jared thing, but
right.
I thought that was interesting. Like, you're like bad hacking people in Africa asking for your bank account and stealing from my elderly mother.
Yeah, that's a different kind of. And I think like there are some hacking groups that are like out to do good things. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to
vigilante hackers.
Yeah. I think
they're still hiding behind a computer screen, but
it's true. And you may ask yourself, after the Ashley Madison hack, even if you searched your email to make sure that it wasn't in the thing, how you can protect yourself in the case of a data breach. Because, any website you use, you don't have any control over how it's managed or, ideally the companies you're giving your information to are protecting your stuff. But even if they do, there's smart people that are able to sometimes go over, around, or through and get to the information they want to get to, which is probably your credit card number, but may just be general information as well, or more specific, weirder information. Mm-hmm. So one way to protect yourself is to have an alternative email address. So my mom, who I always kind of give her a hard time, she has an email address that she only uses for online ordering and a credit card she only uses for online ordering.
Interesting. I would not give her a hard time for that. That's actually really smart.
No, I think so too. But I
have an email that I only use for shopping.
Really? Is that why you don't get nearly as much crappy email as I seem to get?
Probably. And I only use my work email for work even stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
So
I mean, honestly, not that I'm snooping around in your email, but like I seem to get so much email and I complain to you about it and you're like, oh, I don't really get that much email.
I get maybe this past week I've gotten maybe one email a day, and it's usually just you sharing a document with me. That's about all I get.
World, I wish I lived it.
And even my other Gmail doesn't get that much because I don't use that one for shopping either. I use a Hotmail for shopping. So I'm like, if anything's gonna get messed up.
It kind of limits the amount of damage that can get done. Allow me to close my chat window here. I thought I closed all the windows, but I've got a lot of tabs open, so you just never know. So yeah, I think that's really smart, and it also cuts down on the amount of email crap you get, which is awesome.
Because so the Hotmail I use for shopping, because even if you say you don't want to be on a list or get updates, they still send stuff a lot of the time. So
that's true. That does seem to be true. Absolutely.
So it all just goes there.
Yeah.
You don't have to deal with it.
with a drone of this nature flying a pre-programmed route at a very high rate of knots is that it gives very little warning.
There we go. Nothing like British people talking loud over rock music. Yeah, I went to Matt. I blame you because I went to go close your chat window, and apparently, I moused over a drone video. I've been telling Cassie that I feel like I'm aging because I keep accidentally clicking on things I don't mean to click on, and it never really happened before. It just has started happening like in the last 6-ish months.
This computer is also, it has some lag. When I use this computer, I click on things I don't want to.
Oh, that makes me feel better. Thanks, Cassie.
Well, there's like a weird lag, so like you think you've clicked on something, but it opens something else because of the time it takes.
Oh, yes.
To get from one point to another.
Anyway, I'm sorry for the random. Should we start over or should we just keep going?
Let's just keep going.
Fair enough.
I feel like we're in it.
We're in it to win it. So yeah, so you can have like, I think that's super smart for you to have like a separate email. I think that's
But I
really
think
cool.
your mom's kind of a genius for the credit card thing, because then you just have to worry about things like the one credit card. Like it's the one thing.
Yeah, as opposed to like having to, like when you have to change over, like when you switch services and you have to like move all your auto billing over to like a new service.
Yeah.
Which I
So
still
like when other stuff is dependent on that credit card, or like at least with that one, like like I've just used this for shopping, and you can kind of pinpoint where the problem might have come from.
Yeah, that's my mom. She's super smart like that.
So yeah.
I like to think I inherited some of that. But anyway, so yeah, alternative email addresses are definitely helpful, whether you're going to try to cheat on your spouse or whether you want to buy a pair of shoes and not worry about your credit card number getting out into the world, doing maximum damage. And then, of course, the other thing is passwords, right? Like password management is one of our friends who's a data person says you should have 3 levels of passwords. You should have like your low level stuff, like stuff you wouldn't mind someone actually hacking into. And then you have your secondary level password. And then you have the password you only use for online banking. So like, and you use the same base for all of them. So like, by the way, none of these are my passwords. Like my dog's name would be like Sadie, my old dog, Sadie 1997 or something, be when her birthday was. And then that would be like my base password. And then my other part would be like capital SADIE, and then her full birthday, month, day, year. And then maybe my online banking password has a couple of special characters in there. So you're always using the same base and you're just building on it. So you're not like constantly asking yourself what your password is, but you do have these differentiated passwords. Or you can just use a password management system too.
I have like 4 different passwords that I go between with all 3 emails.
Oh, because it makes you change them periodically? Like it says you have to change them every...
No, I just haven't really been consistent. This is over the course of like since I was in college, or like high school.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so there's 4 passwords, 3 emails, and not all of them are, it's like a mix and match when I can't remember a login for something.
It's good. I mean, it's good to have like vary the scene a bit, because otherwise, like you just have that one password for everything. It's when it does get broken into, it's it's a little bit disastrous. And then the other thing you can do, as a lot of websites offer, 2-factor authentication, which means you'll log in with the correct password, and then you'll get a text message or something like that, and you'll have to click on that to be able to log in. And you can set that so it doesn't happen every single time, but maybe it happens like once a month or something from each device that you own. And I think that's really nice too, because then if like, it's like, oh, someone's trying to log into your Amazon account and it's not you, well, that person, even though they have your password, they haven't gotten all the way through yet, because, they sent you a code to your cell phone, and the person can't really proceed until they put that code in. And since they're not you, they're not going to get it.
Yeah, unless they like have all your things.
Right.
Which would be unfortunate, but you probably
know that someone, was accessing your phone. I mean, I think you'd probably figure it out eventually. But yeah, so, I mean, that's the other, so clearly if you're using an email no one is used to using and a password no one knows, then like that's very helpful.
Right.
Actually, the article I was reading about this, because it's this advice columnist, and one of the people who wrote in was like, okay, so I looked at my husband's email and it came up. And then I thought, like, I wonder if it's active. So she went to the site and she used like a password he uses a lot for things and got in. And then it had like a couple of his interests listed, which were kind of specific, like in terms of like, not like interests in that kind of way, but like interests like I like, you know, the cello and something else, like, you know. And he denied it. He's like, no, that's not me. But the password thing was what, like, really, you know, yes, the person could know that the husband likes this and that, but the person wouldn't know to use this particular password that this husband liked to use for things. So, so yes, if you're going to try to cheat on your spouse, try to use a different email and a different password than you typically use. So maybe you have one set of passwords for like your normal life and one set of passwords for like your darker side or something like that.
Yeah, I have no rhyme or reason to my password system. One of them was like a random, I got pissed off at the Bates, this Bates Garnet Gateway, which is where all your student loan information and like all of that is like, it was actually really cool. They just consolidate it in this one site, but so they require a really secure password every single year. You have to change it. And finally, I think it was just my sophomore year that I was like, I'm done. Just, I did the little automatic regenerate password, but I happened to remember it because I had to log in a lot that year for financial aid stuff. And I still use it in other places. Like right now it's my Facebook password because it's like no one's ever gonna, like I just happened to luckily memorize this random series of letters and numbers and punctuation. I was like, I might as well just go with it. So
it's, yeah, and it is
like I can see it in my head.
That's a really great idea because back in the day before cell phones, we had these, you know, you didn't really have a phone plan in the dorm room. Like you could do like local calls and that was it. So like we all had calling cards. Like, so you dial the 800 number and you dial your PIN number and you could put a certain number of minutes on it. And if you wanted to, you could like add more minutes to it or something like that. So one time what I realized is that you could buy like a lot of minutes for really cheap. Like you can buy the giant peanut butter for like, you know, $3 extra versus the small peanut butter. So I like went for it and I got like 2,000 minutes or something. And it's, to this day, it still works. So when I am stuck somewhere, I've memorized the 800 number and my PIN number, and there's money still on it. I mean, it's going down a little bit every year because they do that with gift cards too. But if I'm ever stuck somewhere and there's a phone, I can actually make a call most of the time without even having anything on me. But I should use that PIN number as passwords for things because, like, it's not associated with anything actually important to me. Yet I have it memorized. Ta-da. Pro tip, Cass.
Yeah. So if you have something like that, that's what I would use for. Of course, it would make sense for me to use it for secure stuff, but it's only my Facebook password right now.
Right.
But I used it as my Facebook password when I went to Ireland.
Nice.
So it's like,
yeah, plug it down when you travel abroad. That's good. So yeah, and then the other thing, of course, you can do is, you know, when you're browsing online, or if you want to maybe, you know, say you don't want your partner to see you were on ashleymadison.com, you can browse incognito, you know, because any website that you go to actually that has like agree to our privacy policy or it wants to know your location.
I hate that.
Yeah, it means they're collecting information on you and that they're going to market back to you later based on that information. Like the other day I've been looking for a pair of replacement black boots because my European black boots they're about dead. And so I started like looking online and now black boots everywhere. So I did not incognito. And I feel like one of the shopping sites, it was like, do you want your location? And I said no, and it reloaded the page and asked me, and I accidentally clicked yes because I'm accidentally compliant sometimes. And I was like, oh.
I hate it when like apps do it. Like certain apps, I'm like I downloaded Google Maps. It's like, yes, obviously I want you to use my location. Like, you're useless to me if you don't know where I am. But like, I think Snapchat asked me. I actually got rid of Snapchat, but
Oh, really?
yeah, I felt like it was getting in the way of meaningful communication with other people. No, like really, it was getting bad.
I forgot my password and I never found it out again. So I'm
Then,
sure
like you and Allison don't have it anymore. So I'm like,
I just forgot my password and I never figured it back out. So I never logged back in.
well,
I'm sure I'll go in there and like there'll be like 6 messages or something and I'll never be able to see them.
yeah. But anyway, I was like, why do you need to know my location? Like, you don't.
Yeah. So,
or at least I'm sure there's a reason, but it wasn't glaringly apparent to me. So I said
right.
no.
So there's tools, whether they're in your browser like incognito or whether I'm sure there's apps on your phone too where you can sort of encrypt the information about yourself, like where you're located and other things about you too. So if that is really important to you on a consistent basis versus, oh, I just don't want someone to get into my account versus I don't want people to know what I'm doing, there's definitely steps to take that most people don't take that you can do to sort of protect yourself. And yeah, and then the other thing I would say to do is, because I'm so guilty of this, I'll just download stuff. Like, oh, plugin, sure, I'll download it. See how it works. And I'm sure that's what keeps happening to this computer because I'm pretty hard on computers because I download a lot of crap. But honestly, when you look closely, most of these, like whether it's a piece of software or something like that, you can demo it without downloading it. So, it's probably smart, especially if it's from a provider you don't know really well, to look at the demo to see if it's worth taking the risk of like potentially putting something on your computer or your phone that you don't want on there. Or like read the reviews, but yeah, I'm really terrible about it. And it does catch up with me.
Time, like I'm like a complete 180. So my computer that I've had since 2009 now, it has like barely anything on it, but I remember in 2012 being like, because I was using Safari because that's what it comes with.
Right.
And something I needed to access was like download like Chrome or Firefox. And I was having a hard time with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I download Chrome? Like, what's that going to do to my computer? Like, is this okay? Is this safe? And yeah, I don't remember where I got that paranoia from. I think it's when we got the computers in 2002. We were the first round of the Mac people. In the
schools, yeah.
So we were the very first class, and like it was just under lock and key. Like, you do not do anything. And
yeah,
and it's kind of where I learned computer care.
No, and I think it's a good instinct. And for those of you not familiar, Maine or the state that we live in has this laptop program. And I think, what grade were you in when, like, was that like 7th grade?
It's a 7th. It started out in 2002 and it just like happened to line up when I was in 7th grade. So nice. We were the very first. I think now they do it. It's spread out quite a bit more because they've gotten more grant money, but 2002 was the very first year.
Yeah.
And it was only 7th graders in the state.
It started in middle school and then extended to high school. And I think it's extending like to the lower grades as well.
A lot of, yeah, I know, especially schools with bigger, like their own personal funding. Like my cousins in Falmouth were playing on iPads and they were in kindergarten, so like from school. Right, yeah, if you have a better funded school system. But the idea with the laptop program was it was supposed to give everyone like a very solid technology. Problem, of course, is that you can give someone a computer and if they don't have internet access at home, there's a certain amount that can happen. None of us did.
Right? Yeah.
I didn't know what Wi-Fi was until like high school.
Yeah.
And we didn't have Wi-Fi in our house until like my 2nd or 3rd year of college.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just, in a lot of places it either isn't possible or it's really expensive or anyway, that's a whole other issue that I think the state's trying to address is getting broadband, high speed internet access to, communities so that they can take these computers and plug them in. So have good technology and good access to information. So, but yeah, I think that like kind of almost being a little bit paranoid about downloading things, I think is a good instinct.
But we had to sign a lot of paperwork too, and I think at first they were like, if anything malicious gets on your computer, it's on you if you've been downloading stuff.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it should
And
be.
I'm 12, like I can't afford a computer. My parents definitely would not have been super pleased with me.
No.
I would still be working that off.
I would still be working that off.
So much irony.
So much irony. Is that what you had to do to work so hard when you were a kid? Iron?
Just whatever chore they could come up with. One day I had to clean out the entire garage. I was like 8. We had like a 3-car garage. And yeah.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
But yeah, my parents stuck by it because I remember like my mom came out at one point during the day. I was like, oh, this might have been a little much for a punishment, but I had to do it.
Yeah.
So
All that character.
thanks,
Built from garage cleaning. So, but yeah. So anyway, just, demo it or read the reviews first before you don't. Listen to that little overly paranoid voice from 10 years ago or so telling you, that maybe you shouldn't download something from someone you don't know.
Yeah. Without testing it.
Yes, absolutely. See if it's worth the risk first.
Yeah. And reviews are usually helpful. If there aren't any reviews, I'd be a little sketchy.
Right.
Like unless it's super brand new.
Yeah, I just even like Windows 10. So like one of our friends does tech stuff, and he was like, we're looking for a new laptop for obvious reasons, and he is not recommending Windows 10 for the first 6 months of its release because he's like, let them find all the bugs first. So he's actually setting us up with a Windows 7 machine, and with the potential that we could upgrade to Windows 10, in a few more months if, we wanted to do that. So that makes sense to me, to just let other people, since something's super new, like let other people figure it out and let them find the bugs.
It sounds like they found like 1 or 2 things, but nothing like no gaping hole in the Death Star kind of stuff.
No, well, which is good.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But anyway. And yeah, and then and then from if your website has been hacked or something like that, I think it's really good to let people know that their information has been affected so that they can do the damage control that they need to do. Don't let them find out by watching the news or, or whatever. Like, I think it's nice in cases like this, if you do have a website and you do have customers, to keep a maintained customer email list that you can, and a lot of shopping cart software has the ability where you can like email all customers in like one click. Let them know like when software upgrades are happening, if it might affect them. If something weird is going on, like let them know. And even if it isn't as terrible or it isn't a bad thing, they'll appreciate you giving them the heads up.
Yeah.
I think most of the time anyway. So.
Agreed.
Yeah. So just be proactive.
Yeah.
As you fix it, of course.
And even if, I'm just thinking like from personal experience, I would just be I would be more mad. Like people don't tell me things.
Right. And I've gotten an email before saying like, oh, your data may have been, I think it was Target actually when Target data got breached.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was able to do, because Target let me know when it happened, and I felt bad because they like got put through the ringer, but honestly they were, I think were relatively straightforward about the breach, at least on the customer end. I feel like I got an email and I was able to look in, and I just kind of kept an eye on my credit report and stuff like that for just a little bit, and, for a few months after, to just make sure that, nothing bad was going to happen. And it was nice, like I said, to, and I think they even had steps on their website of things you could do to sort of, things to check or whatever.
Oh yeah. Above and beyond.
Above and beyond, right? Like versus, oh, this hack happened, and I think actually the Ashley Madison people did get an email. So I'm not sure, but I think they got an email. So I think that was a good thing for Ashley Madison to do. So
apparently, according to the internet, Ashley Madison was mainly just a bunch of dudes anyway.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Do what you will with it.
I could see that. Yeah. But anyway, so data breaches, protect yourself. There are things you can do, and it mostly involves like thinking a little bit, and maybe slowing down and asking yourself questions before just blindly clicking yes or download, or putting the same password you always use for everything. So
Yes.
yeah. So that is the end of the Tech Thursday.
If you have any other ideas for us or questions, comments, concerns, whatever, you can leave a comment on the video or send us an email.
Yeah, and please send us ideas. We have ideas for stuff. We just would like to have more viewers, and if there's something that you feel like we could address or talk about in an amusing way, we will so do that. All right, bye.